Hi, I'm Joe James, and in this video I'm going to show you how to use times, dates, and timestamps in Python. I'm going to demystify how to use all of those functions and features in Python. First, I'll show you a summary of some date and time classes in Python that we're going to use. So datetime is this big superclass that has a whole bunch of libraries included in it, including a date, a time, a datetime, which is a combination of those two, and a time delta, which is for duration or elapsed time. And then separately, there's this time class, which is really just for timestamps and process time for timing system processes. And then there's also a calendar class that we're not going to cover in this video, but that's really just for calendars. And then there's this additional, not built in, but it's a separate Python utility called dateutil, which is nice for extended functionality. If datetime class doesn't cover everything you need, it has more features, especially for parsing strings and stuff. So let's dig in. I've got a bunch of different examples here, and this is in a Jupyter notebook format. I'm going to put the code online so you'll be able to download it from my GitHub site. I'll also put it in a text format so you can download the text if you don't have Jupyter running. So use datetime.date.today to get today's date. That's pretty easy. We're going to import from datetime, import date. And then we're going to set d1 equal to a date object with today as is basically the parameters for it. And then when we print d1, we can see it has the year, the month, and the day. When we print d1.month, you can see how easy it is to grab the month. This is February 3rd, so when you print d1.month, it's easy to get the month out of that date object, or d1.day, or d1.year. These are attributes of the date class. And then you can also get the weekday, the day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Monday is 0, and this is a function, so we need to have the parentheses after weekday. And then we can see that the weekday is 6, which is Sunday. That's the last day of the week, according to Python. So that is easy enough to get today's date or to get any month or current day or year or whatever you want out of that. Another important thing in Python is you have this ISO format. Well, it's not just Python exclusive. That's an industry standard format for a date. And it's year, month, day. So dateObject.iso format does basically the same thing as str, which converts a date object to a string format. So we'll create a date object from ISO format. Here we're going to pass in a string. We're going to do from ISO format to a date object called d1. And so we passed in our string in that ISO format, and then we print d1. You're basically getting this ISO format for the date. And then when we print string of d1, you get exactly the same thing. And when we print d1.iso format, you get exactly the same thing. Why is that? Well, that's kind of weird. The reason why is when you pass in a date object to the print function, it's going to automatically convert that to the string representation of it. So these two first print statements are doing exactly the same thing. And then d1.iso format converts it back to the string, which is the date format in the string that we originally started with. So all three of these equivalently are basically doing the same thing. And then when you just say, hey, I just want to see what d1 is, and you can do this in Jupyter, you can just show what is that last object that I handled. d1 is a datetime.date object with these attributes, year, month, and day. You can see that d1 prints out in a string format, but it's actually a datetime.date object with those attributes. So easy enough to get ISO format and convert between ISO format and string format. So if you want to compare, add, or subtract dates, that's also fairly easy in Python. You can compare and get a Boolean result. Here we have a D1 compared to D2, greater than or less than or equal. And the later date is greater than earlier date when you do a comparison. And you can do date addition and subtraction. And the result in addition and subtraction of dates is a time delta object. And time delta is basically a duration of time, or elapsed time. And we can do exactly the same comparisons and add and subtract operations with time objects that we're doing here with date objects. But here what we're doing is setting d1 equal to date.today and d2 equal to another arbitrarily set date, 2015, May 14. And then print D1 greater than D2. Well, it does that test and it finds that D1 is greater than D2, so it prints true. And then D1 minus D2, well, the time difference or duration of time between those two dates is 1,359 days. And since we don't have any time, we just have the date. You get the number of days, but you don't get hours, minutes, and seconds. Next, the time object. So this is from datetime, import time. Time objects have these attributes. They have hour, minute, second, microsecond, and time zone info, TZ info. We're not going to cover time zone info. You can also get daylight savings time using the DST function. We're not going to cover that in this video either. However, you can look up the time library and read about the docs and learn how to use those if you want. So we can use datetime.time to compare time objects. And again, T1 is less than T2 if T1 occurs before T2. Attributes are all optional, so you can work with just hours, minutes, and seconds if you want, or just hours and minutes or whatever. You don't have to set all of these attributes to create a time object. So we'll do from datetime, import time. Time is a subclass of datetime. So we're going to import the time class, and then we're going to create a new time object by passing in hours, minutes, seconds, and microseconds. And we're going to assign that to T1. So T1 will be a time object. And then when we print T1, we get it in this format: hours, minutes, seconds, and microseconds. Now we'll create a T2 time object, and we're only going to pass in this time 2:19. Now it interprets this 2:19 to be in the morning and this 14 to be in the afternoon because it's a 24-hour clock. So 2:19 with no seconds. So when we print T2, it's not going to print out the microseconds. It leaves that blank. And then when we compare them, we can see that T1 less than T2, false. T2 is actually less than T1. So that is a time object. Now, we've covered date objects and time objects, but datetime also has a datetime subclass, which basically just combines all the date and time attributes into a datetime class. So you can see datetime.datetime has year, month, day, hour, minute, second, microsecond, and time zone info. It's very useful for log files. It also can be used to convert back and forth between a timestamp, and it could also be used as a dictionary key. So it includes functions date and time. So let's take a look at some application here. From datetime, import datetime. So the second one is the subclass. There's a datetime superclass and a datetime subclass, both with the same name. So we'll create a DT1 object, and it'll be a datetime object. We're going to pass in these attributes, and then we print DT1, and we can see what we set. 1941, December 7, 7:53 a.m. with no seconds. And then we print DT1.date. It basically just takes the date portion of these attributes, and it prints those out in the date format. Or if you want dt1.time, you can print out just the time portion of it. So that's pretty nice. And these are functions, so you actually need to put the parentheses on that.